Well, good morning, and it looks like winter is continuing here in central Indiana. I'm just back from Florida, where the only concerns really are paper straws and sea turtles. So we have a few other things because we have a really cold weather, a very consistent, you know, we've had some lows, but this is a very consistent low temperatures and very low high temperatures. So I thought there's not, you know what, there's not a whole lot you can do, because the time to weatherproof your house and to get rid of those cracks and the air that infiltrates into your house is really in fall, you know, getting outside and doing some caulking. But there's some things that you can do to make your home a little more comfortable, things that you may not think about, because I know I am guilty of this, changing my furnace filter. Now, I always mark on the furnace filter the date that I put them in. So I was pulling one out just the other day, and I pulled it out and it said 6, you know, June. It's like, okay, that's not too bad. June of 23. I hadn't changed it in a year. It was a hot mess. So make sure you change the filter. A filter like this is what my HVAC contractor recommends, because it really catches no dirt and doesn't stop any air, because I don't change them. So if you really want, the better ones though are the ones, you'll see a MERV rating on them. So a MERV of 8 to 12 is a really good, but you do have to change them. So make sure you change the filter. That allows the air. Around the back doors probably number one as far as allowing air to get in. So simple things, the bottom, this is called a door sweep, all right? So this is, I'm showing the very easiest things that you can do. It's got a little peel off strip. It's got a little rubber flap there. You put it right against the door on the inside and block the air that's coming in. So simple. If you can't even do that, how about this? This is kind of crazy. It's 2 pieces of foam, and it looks like someone's old t-shirt or something. And you just slide it underneath on each side. And again, wedging anything for that temporary relief of keeping that cold air from coming into your house. This stuff, we used to sell, well, we still sell it, but back in the 70s, it's clear tape, but it's called weather strip tape because it comes back off. And you can just take, you know, write down a seam of a window or something like that and put that tape on there, boom. All right, here is, and I don't want to, this is great for the old patio doors. So this stuff has been around forever. I mean, it seems like nothing, right? So it comes with double stick tape. And you just take a hair dryer and you see how it pulls it completely tight, and you don't even know it's there, but it stops the air. So again, anything that's obviously you can't use the door, but even if you did it during this cold snap, rooms in your house that don't, you know, it's a little too cold in the bedroom. If you take your thermometer or your thermostat, and you'll see on here where it says fan is on auto, if you have a switch, just turn the fan on. Let the fan run 24/7, because what that does is it kind of evens out the heat. Now people go, oh, won't that burn up the motor? No, it's actually easier on the motor because it's not starting and stopping all the time. So I would leave your fan on all the time. You can adjust your vents to help out a little bit. And if you haven't taken the hose off outside, take the hose off. And if it's an older one, stick this on there. And you know what? Spring, I know, is right around the corner. Always trying to come up with another little thing I can show you until we get to spring. So we're making progress. I felt like January went really fast, which is amazing because it normally drags. Well, today we're going to talk a little more about the toilet. Because I get a lot of calls about different things. One is that the toilet just doesn't flush. I mean, it doesn't, and you're like, well, what does that, is it a clog? Sometimes when there's a bubble, there's a clog in there, but sometimes, well, it just doesn't flush, or it takes so long. So one, the first thing you can do is get a bucket of water, and then you can kind of find out, you know, if the toilet does just flush. You can just dump a bucket of water in there. All right, the toilet flushes. So now we kind of know that it's not, you know, there's not a clog. It's flushing pretty clean. So when I flush the handle and you don't feel like it's going down, well, what can be the problem? The problem can be, not always, but there's rim jets under here. So, ooh, there's some nasty stuff under there too. And somebody needs to clean that. So there's these little jets, and the jets can fill up with calcium, some hard water deposits. There's also can be bacteria in there. I've seen one really bad where this rim right here was just full of like green ivy, moss, gross looking stuff. So if that's the case, you probably need a new toilet. But these can be maintained. So believe it or not, you can take just a regular screw, and then if you just hold a mirror down in there and you get a hold, you're not gonna be able to see me do this, but you just kind of pull it and break up that debris, and that allows, because if that is closing up, it prevents the water from getting out to completely flush the tank. So the other thing, if you want, you can also take a mixture. Now this is really, this has to be diluted. This is really strong. So you dilute, this is vinegar, as I said. You can use bleach if it's bacteria. And right here in the standpipe, you take it and you just pour it down in there and let it soak in, and that'll kind of soften it up. And then you can get in there with the screw and break that up. So that's one thing to think about. If you have water coming on the floor, it could be one of two things. It is either the wax ring, which is what seals the tank to the flange, or the bowl to the flange. It could be that, or sometimes when that water is on there, between the tank and the bowl, there's a gasket in between there. And sometimes if that is leaking, it kind of leaks out down there and you think it's coming from underneath, and it's really coming from up there. So if that happens, if you're a good do-it-yourselfer, you could do it. If not, you probably need to call one of our great local plumbers. So here's the setup for what's going on this lets the water out, this puts the water in. So remember, if you hear that tank turning itself on all night and you think there's a ghost or something in your house, what is happening is this flapper is leaking, and this just responds appropriately and fills the water back up. This leaks, this fills it up. Replace the flapper. You'll save a ton of money. It's really expensive when that water rolls out. So, is it spring yet? Almost. We can talk with Carrie Arney, who is our garden center manager, our Keystone location, about house plants and how you can maybe just get a little life in you with new house plants. All right, Carrie, so what is it that you like? What's new? What's hot?
Okay, so one of my favorites is aglaonema. That's the Latin name, but most people refer to it as Chinese evergreen.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Okay.
Chinese evergreen.
Chinese evergreen. So what's nice about them is obviously you can see they come in lots of different colors.
Is there a tariff on these?
Why, yes.
That was a political joke, never mind.
So they come in reds, pinks, you can have just the silver and green. They're really nice. They stay nice and bushy. They don't get super tall and stretched out. They are wonderful because they can go in any light.
So that was my next question. Okay. So they don't require, because anytime you see color, I always think, oh boy, this is going to take some light.
Right. So that's one of the nice things about these is you don't have to have super high light. They can be in low light. They can be in medium light. So they do very well across the board. So great for beginners.
So that's good. Do they make, would people use that as a patio plant in the spring? Would you normally just leave it in?
No, you could absolutely take them outside in spring, summer, fall. Here's the one thing. They don't like any direct light. So they need to be, so like if you have a
shade.
Covered porch, like 3 seasons room, something like that, perfect.
Okay, what's the Latin name again?
Aglaonema.
You changed that. All right, Chinese evergreen.
Chinese evergreen.
All right, but then also people are looking for blooming plants this time of year. You have Valentine's Day, and then you have a couple little things here.
Yes, so these are cyclamen. So here's what's wonderful. Well, cyclamen, same thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So here's what's wonderful. You see all these blooms up here, okay? Soon as those start to go brown, you already see your next set. And if you kind of dig down in there, there's even your next set coming along.
Okay.
So continual bloomer, which is really nice for indoors.
So when you say, it's going to be blooming. It's not going to have a period where it needs to rest.
Correct.
What about with watering and fertilization?
Okay. So generally on houseplants across the board, no reason for fertilizer kind of in their non-growing season, which would be November through March.
Okay.
Okay, so starting in April and then all through, you know, spring, summer, fall, you want to go ahead and feed those because they're in their active growing season. Watering on both of these, they like to stay consistently moist. Okay, they don't like to be super dry, but they don't do well if they're super, super wet.
All right, so what about the moisture meter? Do you like that, or you're just such a pro, you like to stick your fingers in the dirt?
I'm a finger in the dirt.
Okay, I had a feeling. You look like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but for other people?
For other people, yes, absolutely.
You like that? Okay.
Yes, you can use those as kind of especially for beginners as they're getting used to, you know, kind of weighing the pot. If it's heavy,
Okay.
then you don't need to water. So yes, for a beginner, I would say those are a good idea.
All right, great suggestions. You know what? It's trial and error. You might kill a few, but you know what? There's always more at the stores, or you can get this is the house plant I would have in my house. Nice, isn't it?